year, I've already rebuilt the worst team in Oldham, or the worst team in England, but now we go to the one with the lowest budget. And it's Bromley, the return of them, the best video this channel's ever made. This year sit with a transfer budget of only 1.12 million. Last season they had a good season, so now we've got to try and build on it as we take the poorest club to the richest man's trophy in the entirety of football. Yes, people, they're back. Bromley are back in FC26. With the team looking a lot better than I remember it. I can remember last year it was really pants. They were the worst team, just coming up from the National League for the first time ever. But now with some decent players like Thompson, they've also got Pinnock in this defence. Michael Cheek up front, who is 33, but still scores goals for fun. And a bench which is almost 60 rated all over, including Jenkinson. The man played at Arsenal in the first team for a long while, so it's weird to see him here. There's also Cam Barber down here. We've got Omulo on loan from Crystal Palace. The 38-year-old captain Byron Webster, who's took them all the way from scoring the winning penalty in the playoff final when they did get promoted. As it is obvious, the aim with this video is to take Bromley to the Champions League title. No objectives, no nothing, but it's going to be a struggle even without telling the team to do anything. Which is going to be a struggle because when we ditch the dollars and go back to sterling, we have less than $1 million to rebuild this Bromley team and get them where we want them to be as first. The academy, which we always check. A 6'7" goalkeeper in Juho. Alex Haig, 5'7" defender. Back to the other extreme. And then Freddie Sharp. Also Valentin Huber. We've got to make the most of this academy season 1. As not only have we got to win the Champions League, we've got to keep on raising cash. Because I know when we get to the Championship and League 1, we're going to still have the smallest budgets in the league. Wage-wise, coaching-wise, and transfer-wise. So we've got to get this team working for us as two of the youth already the highest overalls, alongside Pinnock, who could play left mid. So I'm going to change this up. I don't want to go to the 4-2-2 or 4-4-2. I'm going to go 4-2-3-1 and try and be a football insider's Webster, mate. I'm sorry, but you're coming out of this squad, as I'm going to try and go with this. And I've got to say, the defense in this team is pretty goddamn solid. We've got Odutayo, we've signed already, I believe, in the Oldham save when we built them up. He's 22. Then we've got Suwumni, 21-year-old Elarewe. Then we're going to try Haig on the right because he does a 4-star weak foot. And then we've got Juno in goal, meaning signing-wise, we've got to target that right-hand midfield side. Also, our man Jamila and Mo and Ben Krauhaus is a loan from Bromley. Or from Brentford, sorry. So that's probably the first signing on the right-hand side. Then position swaps to make. I'm going to leave Pinnock where he is. However, get changing some of the rest. Ben Thompson does look like a decent cam. Honda Mark to a CDM. I'm going to change a few players to defensive ones. As first season, I can't lie, I'm not going to aim for an automatic promotion or even playoff. I just don't feel Bromley are there yet. They need one more year. One more year to settle down, as I'm going to get some coaches in because we do have a fairly decent young squad. But I do want a right mid who is going to be ours permanently, 19-year-old Tom Dean. Now, he should have some potential in the bank. Doesn't cost much of our budget at all. And I'm going to try and stay away from free agents as long as possible. It might be inevitable, but for this one, we've got him for 300k and a 1% release clause, leaving us no money after contracts and after only getting one 5-star coaching, as we loan out some of these fringe players because we need all the help we're going to get. Oh, and get this, I'm even using life points, and after an audit of the club, we're in financial dilemma. No shit. We're already struggling as it is, and it looks like, I'm guessing this is for next season, our budget will be halved. So we've got to rely on our managerial skills to steer us through. Ladies and gentlemen, we could be cooked. However, there is 2 Bromley players in the team of the season in Thompson and Cheek, which you've got to love to see. 2 originals as well, so ones we haven't actually had to sign. As our only signing, Dean, sits down here on the bench behind Krauhaus, who has done really well. Also, Arthur's not been played, but this Bromley team has really improved. Look at Haig, look at Juho. Odutayo's another one, +5. We didn't get that in our Oldham save from him. And Ben Thompson at the age of 30. I guess that's come from his position change we've put onto him, which has been brilliant. And then we've got Juho, and then we've also got Freddie Sharp, who's gone up +5. A 6'2" English goalie who got a loan to Luton. It's a cycle as the man who scored the most goals in EFL League 2, I think got the player of the year in real life last year. Michael Cheek nets 30. With Bromley, you know, sneaking a playoff spot. But when you look at this team, we've got Crawley in second, Barrow and Harrogate in the playoffs. Only Salford, Notts County and MK Dons I actually expect to be up there. Where is my club, Grimsby Town, all the way in 16th.
Easy top 3. If I'm not 16th!
I hate to see that, as cup competitions could be absolutely crucial to getting a budget for the season after. As you can see, we lost to Coventry in round 3, which is quite decent for a club that obviously doesn't start in that round. We started in round 1, same in the Carabao, where we exit to Charlton. And the Virtue Trophy, it looks like we didn't care about, but that doesn't offer the most money anyway. However, one thing that does is the playoff trophy, which we are in next. Here we go, we beat Salford, which I think's the harder team to beat. Before getting on to Harrogate Town and Bromley FC. First season promotion. I don't believe it. This is one I really did not expect to get promoted from League 2 in straight away. League 1's going to be a struggle though, with whatever budget we get. But that is a promotion trophy off the bat with the poorest team in England. Not expected by me, probably not you, but I really want to go one step further now. Maybe fight for promotion to the championship, but that's going quite far. We're going to sell one of our youth players. We're going to get going with the ball, aka get the ball rolling. As if you guys want to join us for the journey, not only on this video, but on the channel, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't get any easier though, as the first thing we've got to do is try and change the positions. I've had them all trying to get their potentials up through swapping, through switching. Look at the strong teams in this division and a strong-ish budget. We've got 2 million after that dilemma we just got served with. In the unexpected events, which I'm guessing was on about January of last year, as you can see, we got one coach who's a 5-star one. However, room for 5 more. So I am going to actually spend a lot on these. Improve them players we already have at the club, because I'm thinking we've just got to sell to increase Bromley's budget season on season. Of course, we get an increase now we've got promoted, but we ain't going to get that every year. And with Freddie Sharp still on loan for, I think, a few days, I'm going to place Tavo Juho on the transfer list. Now, I know he's the taller, I know he's 18, and I know he's good, but we need the money, and I think he looks like a player with maybe a bit more potential in him, who we could say goodbye to. But then we've received this message saying whatever money we get this year will carry on to the season after. Very good. Which now has me thinking maybe this year we go for youth who aren't too expensive. We sell a few players, we get an extra budget next year, and then we should be good to go the season after this one. Leave this squad as it is, but actually take some of the older ones out. Apart from Suwumni at the back, Huber's in, Dean's in from the start. Cheek survives up front, but I've got a plan to actually try and replace him. And that's using our own academy. And I am going to stick with a one-star Oscar Walker, because I'm genuinely trying to save the pennies this year. And I aren't going to go to England. I'm actually going to risk it for a biscuit going to Scotland to try and get us a good front runner. And then we're going to sell some players, obviously. With the first one, Ben Thompson. What a fee that is from RC Cluj over in Romania. So I hope the 30-year-old enjoys it, as there's one of our youngsters, Juho, who's leaving. Might anger you guys, but 1.2 million gives us 4 million after already paying for our scout. So we've doubled our budget, which will carry on to next season, and we should get a budget on top of it as well. So we'll have loads of cash going into next year. Freddie Sharp's actually higher rated than Juno. He's just gone up +1. And I've recalled him. Potential to be special. With now Huber going into the team, like I said, Dean and Sharp. The only expectation I have for Bromley is to try and survive relegation at all means. Oh, but look at this. Freddie Sharp. An offer from City of 3 million for our young goalkeeper. Now, that's really enticing, but if we could just reject it for now, I would love it. But then again, I know he's only worth 3 million, but it's Man City. So if I ask for 5 and they actually go and accept it, I'd let him go and join Pep Guardiola, but no. He says no, which is completely fine by me, leaving the only thing for us to do, check our youth account now and see if there's anyone decent stacked up in said account, as these are the 5 players we have. I mean, 4 of them can get promoted, and one of them has 94 maximum potential. And I got some of them loaned out almost straight away in Riley Maithieson. He's 59 rated. Very good for a 17-year-old. And then a few more others. Sam German going to the team we just beat in the playoffs, so sorry to those. We've got Billy Clayton, 64 rated. He went on loan to a team in our league. In Barnsley, Sam Long is still on that long loan deal to Milton Keynes. With that actually being that, as we can check scorers, and our top was our Cam. What a move we took by selling Thompson, because Huber stepped into his position. The 18-year-old Austrian is now 70 rated, plus 6 for him. Maybe he can be replaced by Clayton, as none of them are highest rated in our squad. Alex Hagu changed to a right back, 75 in EFL League 1. Same with Odetayo at 73. Just wish he did this well in our Oldham Athletic save, because now I feel really let down. So we've got Clayton, who can step back for Dean, really, who's 21, who will be older than him, and our only signing so far. And can you believe, with only one signing at the poorest team in English football, we go ahead and finish 10th in League 1, so a promotion and pure stability, or a top half finish, you could say. Only 3 points off the EFL League 1 playoffs. I can't believe it, as Barnsley down there, going down. MK Dons at the bottom, who usually have some decent players. And I've been asked a lot in the comments to rebuild Rotherham, who actually went ahead and won the Emirates FA Cup. Brilliant news for them as we reach round 4, so a bit more of a budget. As usually in real life, when you get a Premier League team in the Cup as a lower league team, you get a bigger bit of money because you get money from their revenue in their big attendances. As Shrewsbury beat us in the Carabao, and Grimsby lose the Humberside derby, which isn't nice to see. And a quarter-final loss in the Virtue. We gave it a good go this year round, as they're the playoff teams. Some of them already played, where I aim to be next year. And the £4 million, which should get an extra bit of money added to it. Excited to see what it's like, but before that, I've trusted these players already, so I'm going to add another youth player into our team to make it 4 in the starting 11. All moneymakers, as Michael Cheek unfortunately won't be one anymore. He can actually come off the bench because Solcader is 59, so he can go in for the time being. Solcader, the sole trader, because he's been on loan that many times. As budget-wise, got an extra 2 million added to the 4 we stacked up, which has worked out perfectly as 2 players in the academy. I said we could promote 5 last year. We could only promote 4 because Connor Jones is now available, 61 rated, and Riley Taylor, you know, he's got decent stats for a centre-back, especially at only 16, so we'll change him up because he's got that left foot as well. As tactic-wise, I've stuck with our formation. I've got a lot of coaches in, but I am going to change the style we go for. High press looks decent for our defense, so I'm going to try and go for that. We're going to go high defensive approach and get a pressing striker in, one that can really run at defenders, as this guy's absolutely perfect, but unfortunately in career mode, the rating's not up there for my man Jace Cabia. So instead, we've gone to a different league. We've gone over to the 3-leaguer for Raphael Ott, a 21-year-old aggressive German forward. And this guy also looks good. Hakon Haugan. You won't believe the club I brought him in from, but he's going to sit as our backup right back. And a bit steep on the price, but we've bought him from my club Grimsby, so I don't mind giving them money. And that's the only position we really needed to fill desperately on that bench. So there he is. We're going to get our striker in Ott, who looks decent. But then again, could we get another one? The budget does still sit at 3 million, and we could go big with that. So I am going to look for another target forward. Sorry to Ott, who's just come in, but he's going to have to share game time with Ezekiel Alado of the Swedish team. Brommapojkarna. That's the pronunciation I'm going to go with. That's the club we just bought him from. And here he is in all his glory, a left-footed striker. He is physical, he's got pace, he can shoot, and he can also dribble a fair bit as well. 73 rated at 22. I'm still sticking with that youth approach we're going for, as Pinnock's not too very young. the same as Swumney, and that sentence didn't make sense. I know it didn't, but we've got a lot of youth in the team, and one almost touching 80 rated is Haig, and on the other side, Odatayo as well. Again, never did this in our Oldham save. Haugen, 21. We've got Jones, who we couldn't loan out. We've got Ott. I'm sorry you're on the bench. But we had money this season I wasn't wasting. As McAlinley's gone to a 73. We've got Taylor, who hasn't changed to a centre-back yet because I loaned him out. He's been growing. As well as Riley Mathewson on the left-hand side, which is the position we actually need next to replace Pinnock. This career mode couldn't work out any better. As goal-wise, we've got Ezekiel getting 19, Huber 18. He's in double digits for both. This man's going solidly under the radar. As like an Arnautovic. I know Arnautovic was a winger and he's a cam, but that's who he reminds me of, as hopefully Jones could be a good left mid himself. Before some of our bench lads run up, as you can see, according to calculations from Quantum Fox, what a name, we're growing this club worth to 11.5 million, if only the budget could have actually said that. And if we don't win these playoffs, after just losing out to Plymouth Argyle, who I'm sure was our last game of the season when I was just looking at the calendar simming, we only lost the same amount of games as them, in fact replicated their results, but conceded more, maybe telling us something about our centre-back, as Newcastle win the FA Cup over Ipswich, and we lost to Aston Villa again. But a fun fact about Ipswich, they're out in the Carabao Cup in real life because Bromley beat them on penalties, the poorest club, as we're losing round 1 of the Carabao to Wolverhampton, and this year no effort in the Virtue, losing to Luton. Probably the hardest draw we could have got. We beat Oxford in the playoffs firstly, before then beating Huddersfield. Bromley have not gone back to back, but gone 2 for 2 in playoff campaigns, getting another playoff trophy. And let's face it, with 2 almost 80 rateds, this is the league I expected to be in. Squad-wise, that is. Budget might not replicate the second tier of English football, and it really doesn't. 6 million. I just pray we get the fold on again, taking that budget into next year, because maybe we need to raise some funds again to go again on the promotion front, because Pinnock, 65 rated in the championship. Now where? There he is. It is Mathewson. We could try and change this formation to add wingers to it, and that's probably what I will go and do, as we definitely need a new centre-back. And then we've got to look at the midfielders. But like I said, formation. I know we just shuffled one of our players out from a left winger in our Welshman to a left mid, but I am going to go to wingers because I think that's where we'll get the most growth and support to Alado, who's 22 and will stay up front for the time being with his backup on the bench. So let's go and get them players we need after potentially making some money, because I don't want to just spend 6 million. And Idris Odatayo we have used in this career mode before here on FC26, but it's the other fullback we've got a bid in for, Alex Haig. Now 33.6 million. Juventus throwing all the money they have at one of our youngsters, but I've got to say, because they're offering that much, I'm gonna reject it. A, out of spite. B, because it tells me we've got potential in him. And C, we got this offer, a swap deal for the Odatayo, giving us this man. Almost stumble on my words there. Yes, Odatayo for 5 million plus Marash Kumbula. Really good player out at Roma. And yet he's 28, but 6'3", really good for this division. And younger, not left-footed though. Bit of a pet peeve of mine to have him there as now just a left back. And maybe we just go for one midfielder. Gives us something to go for next year. If we go all out on a centre mid next year, go splitting that 9 million on 2 positions at left back and CDM. As firstly, we're going to bring in Julian Brandes of Pescara, and then another Albanian defender in Mario Mitaj of Al Ittihad. An easier team name to say than the last one, so now we have that Albanian link-up of Kumbula and Mitaj. Like to bring him a friend along, who can hopefully get promoted to the Premier League with him, as then Brandes hasn't played in the midfield, same as Clayton on the wing. Our wing is actually looking quite weak because it gave game time to McKinley, and in fact all of these players down here, we might have to get releasing them, because unlike the start of the game, no one wants to take these old Bromley players to new clubs like Corey Whitley, Carl Jenkinson, Kambala. They all signed long contracts, as I actually can afford to release them, or just one, just one because the second one shows how much money we have. Back to nothing because that's where this team came from and stays at. As Riley Taylor improves, he's a 61 left-footed centre-back who I can hope fits into the team at one point, as Tom Dean's done pretty well in getting some game time. So he's going to be fighting Billy Clayton, both of them young on the right-hand side. Now more the left I'm going to be thinking about putting McKinley there. We've got Jones. We've also got Mathiasson, but I do want to get someone big next year alongside a midfielder, because unlike we did when we bounced from League 2 to League 1, we finished 10th then, but now we actually struggle. 17th, 8 points away from relegation, kind of clear. Sending Luton down, who have beaten us, won the league, so they must have decent players. And Luton's not far away from Bromley, so maybe we could get them to transfer over. Again, that's if they've got players we want, as we lost in round 4 of the FA Cup to Middlesbrough from our league, and then Blackburn Rovers also from our league. As now the Virtue Trophy's over, we've only got 2 cups we can make money from. Oh my days, but it gets stinkier. There's no turnover, there's no help from the board like there was last season, or the season before. When we were lower down, we got helped out. That 4 million wasn't even as much as we paid for Mitach, our left back, so we've got to improve this team somehow. On the wings, I'd say definitely, and at least we do have young players there in Clayton and Mathiasson. But then I said about rotating to others, like McKinley, Dean, and Jones, but I believe one of them has to go, one of these two, to make our budget around about 7 mil. Alongside Jude Arthurs, who has submitted a transfer request. I'd like him to leave, please. As in fact, I'm going to transfer list all the players under 70 rated who aren't on the bench, as we desperately need some cash for contracts, for coaches, as I have kept getting coaches in. I didn't want to bore you with it, as we were only making half a mil there, not even 400k there, and now it's getting harder to reject them. We've got another bid in for our right back, the 82 rated Alex Haig, 70.8 mil. That is really hard to turn down. The only worry I have is he's good in the defense, and if we don't get to carry our money over, we could be losing one of our best players. Yes, for a high transfer fee, but we could buy a whole entire new squad. The only problem is we'd have to buy that squad all at once, which I do not want to do. There's a lot of transfers going through. I can't seem to get rid of Jude Arthurs. I did reject the Hague offer. Kumbula's been offered for, and I have accepted bids for Doug McKinley, as this is a good offer. Another swap deal with Rafe Ott and Darko Gyabi, ex-Leeds, now at Hull City. And with our desperation for a midfielder, I'm going to go ahead and let this happen. Trading our backup striker for a starting CDM, I think is good business all round. Same with McKinley leaving. That's around 4 million to add to our tally. Should we be sitting at around 10? I don't know. I'm going to have to check right in a moment, as he's jetted off to Porto, giving us 8 million in our budget. And for that reason, I'm not going to buy a backup striker. I'm going to leave Kader as he is, focus on another winger, and improving the actual first team squad. Someone experienced, an Exhibit A, the 26-year-old Denis Wyszynski. Have I heard of him? No, but he's playing at the top of his major league over in the Czech Republic, and I'm going to take the gamble on the winger. And it is only +1 for him, but he does look a player with them numerous positions. One thing I didn't notice at the start, can play cam. Interesting. As now Haig won't be the only player that teams are sought after, because Huber at 21, 84 rated, that first academy we got must have been the best academy ever, and we've only had a 1-star scout. Oscar Walker, my friend. I don't know how much we're paying you, but it's definitely not enough for these lads here. Look at the ratings. But yeah, going back to Valentin Huber, I'm going to try and make a change, because when you look at his stats, he's not a cam. He's a winger, I'd say. But then again, it doesn't want to make him one. As I was going to try Kinski and Cam and him on the wing, try and switch them around. Is at the club now. Corey Whitley, 31 overall at 38. We've got 2 players at the club who are older than their overall. Frankly, that's embarrassing, and I'm going to release them again next season, as I left no budget this season, and Riley Matheson steps up over Wyszynski after we sign him, scoring most from the left, with our left-footed striker doing decently, and 4 players in the team of the year should probably tell you B playoffs minimum. As it's not only that though, By a point this time round, finally we've lucked out at getting Bromley FC promoted to the Premier League. In quicker time than we did last time. We did them in FC25. What's it took 5 seasons to get here? We've really done well with exchanging money with other clubs. West Ham, Wolves and Leicester in the playoffs. I'm definitely going to be checking their players because obviously only one of them gets promoted, losing to Liverpool in the Cup. And Millwall in the Carabao, so no Cup because we didn't win a playoff campaign. But this is the year I don't care. Bromley FC, we're going to the Premier League. With this team being the starting one, and I am dreading seeing the budget, we might have to lose Haig this season. Also Huber, and another youth player not talked about. Sharp in goal is Sharp because his rating's gone up to an 82. With Kumbula beating an 84, our defence is pretty solid. With unfortunately 2 originals of the team, I think the next to step out. We've got Hodmarach, who's gone the way, Will I should call him, and Deji Alewe. And hey, the budget I would say is 35 million. That's decent, but it will go down. Usually the second season in the Premier League, your budget goes down from the first because they give you all of the money to try and avoid relegation, which we're going to go for. And I genuinely think we should be doing. I like the formation we've gone to. I like our players, our attack. I'm not going to touch, despite 3 of them being youth players. Defense priority over midfield, so Hodmach is going to be safe. For now is William, because we do have Brandes, and we have Arthurs on the bench, and we do need a bench striker, so maybe we could sell one of these CDMs. Now, Arthurs just won't leave the club. Maybe his wage is good, and he doesn't want to give up on it, so Brandes, we've just signed. Another player submitted a transfer request, but he has not been good enough. And before anything, I am going to look for a backup striker, just to be on that safe side. And we knew the teams that got relegated. West Ham, no wonder, because they've only got 1 striker in Marwan. And not Marwan Fellaini, so I'm guessing they won't actually sell him, because they don't have the players to cover for it. And we couldn't even afford Leicester's starting man. So instead, we go to the forgotten boy of Leeds United. They've loaned him out 2 seasons in a row to Hull City. Joe Gelhardt, the 28-year-old, who, yes, did cost 10 million, but that's Premier League pricing for you. They're a team that just got relegated, and I'm pretty sure Iraola was in charge of them. So before we go and get a centre-back, let's look at the manager markets. Birmingham got a new gaffer in Christiansen Mikkelsen. Interesting, I don't see any other transfers going down with the big clubs. So let's go ahead and check from a different point of view. As who's Ryan? Funny name that is. Then we've got Hans Dieter Flick at Arsenal. Unai Emery still in charge over there. Not much change apart from Manchester City. No idea on William Marsden. That sounds like a referee's name. As 22 million is a good budget, but we still need to sell. And I can't believe the CDM that's actually left the club. It's Will. At least I don't have to say his name anymore. And he goes for 14.1. With Arthur's refusing to move, and also Brandes, despite self-transfer listing themselves both. I just couldn't squeeze any money out of them. So them 2 are going to have to rotate. Hopefully hit 75 ratings, and now we need to get rid of our 76 in the defense. As when he falls onto the bench, yes, it does look weak with Haugen. Got another goalkeeper in Long, but that bench is sufficient to staying in the Premier League, as we do go to West Ham, the team that did get relegated, for Abdoulaye Juma Ba. Whoa, and for a full season in the Prem, a 3rd season in the Prem, Bromley will definitely take that. 13th, unlucky for some. Keeps us avoiding the drop though, with QPR, Sunderland and Burnley down. I can't believe QPR beat us to the title last year as City win this one. As now making improvements is going to be the hardest. I'm going to show you Bart in a minute. It was a huge help to our centre-back positioning. Beaten by Newcastle and Cardiff. Embarrassing in round 4 of the Carabao. As that really could have been a time to earn some money. Getting to the final if we could. Dreading to see our budget next year, as this is it. We've got Bar, who I believe is on the books of Manchester City. Love that Sierra Leone badge. Or flag, I've always liked it. 80 pace, 81 physical, or 86 physical, with Brandes, the man to replace Will in the midfield, and he's 75 overall. A great season from the youth players as well. Riley Mathason up to an 80, and Clayton to a 79. Just ahead of Tom Dean. We've got so many wingers at the club, we can probably sell them to get some new ones if we do desire. As Valentin Hubner, what a star he's going to be. In the seasons going forward, as I'm sure the game is listening to me, with a local businessman investing more money into Bromley for our second season in the Premier League. Right, and on the second monitor I do have now, #flex, just got it for these videos to improve the quality, but it says Bromley are famous for their pubs. I mean, who isn't in the UK? But we can imagine a big pub owner's put the investment in to take our money to 25 mil. So you're telling me, without that investment, we would have been sat on almost 12 million. That is embarrassing, especially in the Premier League, where we aim for hopefully better than 13th. Maybe it's time for one of our big players to go. Maybe one of our youth boys. If Haig gets them big bids in again, I think it's time we do make that profit on him. Although Haag wouldn't probably step in well. We're going to definitely get him out on a loan deal if a club comes in, because that's what he's asking for. And I think would suit him. With a new first choice right back coming in, but we need to get rid of Haig first. As I believe now's the best time to sell. We've got another London-based club in Arsenal, placing a large bid in for this man here, but I am going to be cheeky, asking for 100 mil, and 92 we actually settle on. So goodbye to one of our day oneers, giving us 104 million, and the first thing I'm going to invest into is a nice fresh suit, although I'm not going for any different shoes, because shoes are always expensive, and we do want to actually put our money into players. Going outside of the country for once, not just looking at the relegated teams with Pedro Lima, and also Alex Toth, the Hungarian hungry for Premier League football. Both costing a lot put together, 40+ mil each, but both filling gaps for this team to have a better Premier League season. And this looks horrible. Chelsea have had an off year, but Bromley, 8 wins, staying up deservedly because we won more games than Southampton, but 2 points. 2. From going down with an 80+ rated squad. We have built all the way from League 2, now failing in the Premiership, with Forest winning a trophy. What is this about? Can we do this? Losing to Accrington, who used to be the poorest club in FC, until Bromley did come around, and the Carabao Cup, losing in the quarters. On penalties, which could have been our chance, as look at this, we've got an 87 rated Cam, 2 88s in the squad in the defense, which should really be increasing us a bit. We've got the youngster in Lima with so much potential, same as Toth. Them two have grown by 2 each. We've got some weaker players near the defense, and maybe game time's going to all these guys down here or stupidly sign contracts to unconsciously, throwing money at all the old boys who have been with us for years on years. But there you go, 4 of them over the age of 40 already. So yeah, it's time to go on a releasing spree. I'm not going to keep any of them around as we head into our next season. And hey, at least our striker's been our top scorer for once. And I, for one, cannot wait to be hit with this stinker of a budget, but it's actually better than last year somehow. 31 million, but what a stinker of a year last year. We've got a goalkeeper playing for England, surprisingly no other international duty. Clayton's not being called up, and I think because we're doing bad, maybe we go for a formation change. Now, I don't have anything else in mind. I'm just going to see which positions players can change to. Toth can go in centre mid. Giabi can go to centre back and grow, because it only takes him 2 weeks to do so. Same as Brandes. Okay. All our CDMs look more like defenders. So potentially we try this. The 5-2-3. I do think we've got 2 very good wing backs here. Huber does drop into the midfield. Toth's going to step up to it, and Giabi's going to step back down to a defensive-minded player, and Huber, 84 weeks he takes to change, so maybe just in the meantime, we do go and get another centre mid if we are to commit to this formation, and I'm not probably going to find anyone cheap for where we are in the Premier League. And seeing Alex Garcia's got me thinking, if we just go for an old boy until Hubner trains to be a centre mid, that means there's no pressure in really playing them, and Diego Gomez, not an old boy in real life, just burst onto the scene, scoring a wonderful hat-trick against Barnsley in the Carabao Cup for Brighton. So I'm going to just take him for a short and sweet 20 mil on a 2-year contract. Now, I could put him straight in the team over Hubner, but in fact, I'm going to leave him on this bench. I just want Hubner to start if the game lets him actually do that. As at the end of the season, he's done anyway training as a centre mid. Of course, it doesn't increase him. Cam is his position, but we're changing all the positions up. For the majority of the lads anyway, as Brandes to a centre-back. Giabi actually hasn't been played, but he changes to a centre-back also. With Toth going to a centre-mid, and that actually increases him by 1. An increase I did not expect, but when you look at this team right now, we've got a 90 rated goalkeeper, 5 at the back with wing-backs, 2 87s in the midfield, 1 up front, and 2 youthful wingers. However, one thing I forgot, as I can change them around right now to add a full-strength bench to our lineup, is a backup goalkeeper. We've only got Freddie Sharp, who's the highest rated, submitted a transfer request, and no wonder he's gone straight from the World Cup to playing a full season. With Bromley in the Premier League, as I don't like that lack of goals. Diego Gomez, though, the Paraguayan coming in, getting 8 and 5 assists to give Bromley a top-half finish, scoring 60 goals, which is quite a few, but I still don't think we've got a top scorer. Chelsea recovered all the way to going 3rd. As I can't lie, I wish we were in Europe this year, but I think 9th is ruling out all European competition, with Bolton beating Bromley in the Cup. And we've had a stinker, again I'm saying that word. Bradford beat Bromley in the Carabao, but is it a problem with actual goal scorers we have here at the club? Well, not really, because down in 6th we've got Ezekiel Alado. On assists, we have Hoopner, who didn't even play as a centre mid the full season. On clean sheets, it's actually broken just to include every single player. So statistically, we're getting better in every aspect. We just need to get European football. The aim, to leave the country to go and play in so many nice locations, playing some continental football, as we need a GK as a backup, but the quality of them depends on the quality of the budget, as it's another 35 million, which last year was only enough for Diego Gomez. And the objective set by the board is very insecure on us as well, is to reach the Champions League and win a cup. So high aims. Remember when Bromley were the poorest club down in League 2? I wish we could return to that state, expectation-wise, because this is going to be hard, and that is why I'm going to the free agent market for the first time in the save, and hopefully the last time in the save. As Solbrin, he was at Middlesbrough, or is at Middlesbrough, in real life. So I'm going to take him, I'm going to bag him as our bench option, and if all goes to plan, he should be lifting the FA Cup. As Middlesbrough interested again. Weird that, they've just let him go, as also another weird thing. I managed to sign all the players up each time on long contracts, apart from Diego Gomez, who only signed a 2-year, but the wages are going up, with Kumbula the next to sign, our captain, our leader only on 40 grand, which is slightly worrying. Plus, he's hit the age of 33. We've got centre-backs on the bench, but I think that's the place we aim again. Sure, we could have gone full-back, but we do play 3 at a time. So centre-back, I'm just going to go into the next season with this man right here. Welcome in Ronald Araujo. We got him on a cheap as well. 35-year-old granted, so he is at an UNC status, and now can swap to Giabi, but it gives us 2 solid centre-backs. Bryn's gone to a 75, unexpected, very nice. Very nice bench and team, which should be reaching the Champions League now, Bromley. Come on, lift your finger out. 3 90-rated players, all with transfer requests in, stupidly. 2 of them day 1 regens, by the way, and there is Ezekiel, our striker, scoring almost double what he got last year, which is a big plus for our aims and motivations. I thought that was Hoopner then. Where's the team of the year? It is here. And our fullbacks, or wingbacks, that formation change worked. 100% it did, because we've gone ahead and finished joint second with a huge club like Manchester City, top 3 for Bromley FC, securing Champions League football, and the team we joint top with actually did very well in the cup after beating us in the round of 16. How I would love to win a trophy, and the quarter-final, City again. Let's not bump into them in Europe, because we're in the Champions League, facing off the big teams. Yep, I wonder what the board expects now we've took the poorest team into the Champions League. Maybe in the next 2 seasons we can win it, because we have gone youthful with our squad, or once was youthful. Now you can see the 28 and 25. Striker is 28, but the oldest by far is Kumbula, our centre-back, who I still cannot believe we got in that swap deal. And then we might be signing a centre-back again with £83 million, big increase to our budget. However, the expectation to win the Champions League. What are you doing, Bromley board? At least you say our job's safe after we turned our money around and got us into the Champions League. It's actually come from when we cut our squad down of players, releasing all the old boys. I think it's done as well, as I do want to say, the pace in the squad. Defender on 81, yes, Kumbula lacks it a little bit, but 89 there. You can see there's pace in almost every player. Ezekiel stats, 97, 95 shooting, 5-star, 5-star, 86 physicality, the world's best striker by stats, as now we've got to try and find the best defender within our budget, as even getting into the Champions League with the club we have, we still can't raise over £1 million or £100 million, and I think I found the man I want. He's left-footed, so can shift onto the left. Massage Baran. This guy looks unreal. 85 pace again, I'm talking on pace. 89 defending, 86 physical. Can do the job. And it is just all about affording him, as one reason I signed Araujo was to actually put him in a swap deal, because I thought if I swap him for a younger defender the season after, it shows how much of an investment he was. Despite being 35, it's hugely worked in our favour to get this man in. As there he goes into the team, just replacing Kumbula, our captain, straight away. As I think it's perfect that the armband's actually fallen to Huber after him, as he deserves it. Look at that, captain, leader, legend. It actually takes his rating up to being the highest in the squad. He's got the ping plus. Can't really say that 2 times quickly. The pass pinged plus. I've even said it wrong in the second time round, but he's really good statistically. Same as Toth, who does lack pace, but not rating. Then Sharp's up there. Lima, Bar and Clayton. He's had a bit of an increase. I didn't even realise he was 88 before. With Alado the top scorer, or Ezekiel as I've liked calling him. Toth with 19. Hubner with 14. It seems our midfielders are very attacking in this shape and formation, as then Giabi's probably the weakest for next season, 86, being Bromley's weakest position. That's incredible. Before this, their best player was Michael Cheek, I think anyway, but this season, again, has been an absolute howler, just below Man United, and when you're below Man United, you know it's bad. Going down, West Ham could always be worse. As no trophy picked up again, I can't believe how far we've been off the cups. City in our way again. A quarter-final again. We're always stopped by City. Carabao Cup again. Wherever we go, Manchester City will be there. Bromley are just existing, and Manchester City are just making a shadow over us, which I'm really not enjoying. We finish unlucky for some 13th, but last time I said that, I believe that was the first season in our Premier League campaign. And we went on to do good things as we beat Salzburg 3-2. Before Sevilla, 5-6, 6-4 an aggregate, that's massive. Roma 4-1, okay, we could be on for a final here. As then PSG 6-3. And you know what that means? It was either Frankfurt or Leipzig, and I think for the second time in FC26, Leipzig are our finalists. They like to do well. A club that got injected with money against a club that's come from no money, and their team on paper looks like they have gone for the youth approach. Similarly to ourselves, and I believe this is the first time Bromley, well, definitely ever in real life, and I think in this save, have played at the Bernabeu. Maybe I'm wrong on that fact, maybe I will be shocked. And Toth, with a pass over to Huber, the Austrian and the Hungarian working together in the midfield, finding the Ghanaian we need to do with Ezekiel. I know he's got pace and shooting, but not the first touch. Malo Gusto just charges in there, and he does win it back. Does the physical striker and runs through himself. If he could feed our winger, Matthijssen, now he needs to get running himself. Straight into Malo Gusto once more. He would have been good for our wing-back position as well, but I'm going to trust Pedro Lima. First time they're coming forward against our 5 at the back. And the Brazilian gets the tackle in. We do have a lot of nationalities in this team. One thing I'm actually realising is Pedro Lima. One more inside. It's Clayton. And I'm just going to go for the pop shot. Would have been a deserved goal, as now we go again. Pedro Lima down this right-hand side into Clayton. Toth tries to step away, just can't get away though. And now we're going to go down the middle again. It is Toth, the Hungarian mastermind in the centre of the park. Adalo needs to get the shot off quicker. To say he's got all that pace and strength, he's definitely not showing it. And Ait Nuri out wide. Pedro Lima is going down his side, but he's absolutely reading everything. Now he just needs the easy pass inside. Toth finds his man again. Now we go back out wide. Really toying with myself here, as much as trying to toy with them. Clayton inverting with his positioning. And now there's a gap which he can't seize. Very sloppy players. Now Hubner, get the ping pass right, my friend. You're the captain, and that's a captain's tackle. More like it. Toth into Hubner again. He sets it for Alado. This could be good play here. Hubner's running through the middle. Let's give it out wide. Let's give it out wide again. We need options in the centre, but Matej can't even beat his man. No wonder we finished 12th in the league. We probably had more chances than everyone, but just never finished our dinner. A bit like Tottenham in the Premier League last season. There's now Matej running inside. He needs an option. He's not going to get it, so we're just going to be left on the edge of the box as they park themselves in front of the goal. We can't even turn in anywhere, nor make a decent first touch. But he rightly doesn't, and now it's the first time we go into extra time. Let's go, shall we? Let's go, as Pedro Lima. He's passed it inside. Abdulloh's gone all the way back to Juma Bar. Juma Bar giving it down this wing to the right-hand side in Toth. Charging forward. Look, they've just got their three midfielders parked on the edge of their box. And once we beat them, we've got to make them pay. Matthijsen, stop penalties, please. Whip that in. Another good block. We may have been through. Hang on. We've got a chance here. Castello's actually stepped forward to give our centre-back Baran the opportunity for top bins. It's our centre-back. Our final signing of the saving extra time. How has he produced that? How have we took that out of us? This game has been tiresome. The defender keeps the defender on side, and our number 6 at the back just inverting forward and going on a run himself. He's stayed up from the corner, and he's made them pay from it, as now we need a second, and hopefully they open up, as I don't know what Hubner was trying there. Pedro Lima, recycle, my friend, recycle. Do not make us make any mistakes right here. Toth running into the green space, but passes it, and that is beautiful play. Should have been 2-0. A great save by the goalkeeper, but another chance. Clayton didn't get enough on his pass, and do not let them break like this. We've been turned, Giarbi. Don't let them turn you. Defend at all costs. He's going into the midfield now. A lot of our players putting the press on as they tried to get forward, but we nicked the ball in a defensive position. Alado, why not shoot? Maybe catching the goalkeeper off guard a little. We don't, though. We don't. And the scenes in London and the scenes for Bromley as they pick up that Champions League. Finally getting that big major honour after missing out on so many goddamn cups through the years. From the Virtue to the FA Cup, and we didn't even win a minor league title, as Hubner's parading it around the Santiago Bernabeu, and I love that it's still black and white stripes, my favourite stripes of all time. As if you do want to see another rebuild on the channel in FC26, well, they should be right here, but these are what YouTube recommend you.